Hello, everyone. Much obliged to have you join us, as always, on the program Road to Edo 2024. And the termination point for this program will be on the 21st of September, when the Edo State governorship election will hold. But for now, we keep entertaining governorship candidates, party chieftains, members of parties' campaign council, to ventilate their views on what they have for Edo people and why Edo people must look their ways in terms of voting their candidates for the Edo State governorship election. In today's program, I have with me in the studio a member of the NNPP campaign council. Of course, you know, the governorship candidate is Dr. Azemhe Azena, the very son of the oracle. But today, he is represented on this conversation by the secretary to Dr. Azemhe Azena Campaign Council and the person of Ahibi Kingsley. Kingsley, many thanks for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
Okay, let's start from the very foundation. Your principal is a very renowned pastor, man of God, who has been saddled with the responsibility of depopulating the kingdom of darkness, bringing men and women into God's marvelous light. At what point did this vision change? Is it an absolute change, or is part of the vision to emancipate humanity, particularly the people of Edo State?
Thank you very much. You know, when you talk about when it comes on board in terms of politics and all that, I could remember vividly, it's something that he has kept saying, that he has prayed over time that any government that will come on board should be able to press to the needs of the people. And the church has been praying. Individually, people has been praying, and him himself has prayed. Until he got to a point, he said no, that it's as if that he keep praying, and these same people keep recruiting themselves into the system. And he said to himself, he said he will put the cross upon his shoulder, and that was how this vision came on board. And his vision coming on board is a plan he has towards the poor, because there are so many times I have been with him. He wrote an article to the state government on how to make sure that the poor are being elevated, even this present regime, and it was neglected. And he said, okay, that if he keep trying all these things and all that, keep doing it over and over again, and nobody is answering to him, then he should put it upon himself. That is why he came on board. And he said, okay, I want to do this job myself.
So what are his plans?
Thank you.
In terms of manifesto, agenda, and vision to do things differently to impact Edo people?
Thank you very much. When you talk about our manifesto, it's very simple. We have a slogan which we call the A to Z. It's simply a manifesto that will move from the basic to the top, in the sense that no one is left behind in our manifesto. If you check around over the time, I have studied his manifesto, and that's what got me an interest to him. You know, if I have to follow by political hierarchy and all that, I think I would have missed this opportunity. But I said no, that this man had a vision. I've heard him speak over and over again. And that is why we all join hands together for the vision. Now, when I look at one of his manifesto that he has, which is titled The Tax Reform, I will not be able to, because of time, but I will just go around. There's one he titled Tax Reformation. I think he's one of those who have that kind of manifesto among every other ones that are campaigning. In the sense that when you talk about the tax that that people are paying in Edo State today, you discover that the poor pay more tax than the rich. You discover those who has company, they are not paying, but the market seller in the market, the bike rider, the Yaris driver, the bus driver pay taxes, even they pay to the state government, also pay to the local government. But Azemhe is coming with an idea called a tax reform, where the rich will pay a tax above the poor. Now, if you want to make it an equilibrium, which means you have to tax the rich the way you are taxing the poor. If every rich business organization in Edo State is paying tax the way the bike people are paying, I think our IGR will be more and higher than what we have today. I think I've read on the news, they said that what we are able to to get in 3 years thereabout is around 3 point something trillion, and you are not giving account of what you are using this money for. So one of the things, the second one that got me interested about Azemhe is accountability. So when he talks about this tax reform, and people wonder, why is it that big companies in Edo, big industries, they are not paying this tax? Azemhe is coming on board to make sure that everyone that is a business owner, or whether you are rich or poor, you're going to pay tax equally.
Okay, let's establish something. Are you saying evidentially that big companies in Edo State are not paying tax, or they're not paying commensurate tax?
Yeah, they are not paying. Seriously.
What is the statistics?
Now,
what is the current revenue profile of Edo State in terms of tax generation?
That is the problem, because nobody wants to give you what is coming in every year. They only tell you a stipulated amount in 4 years. They come together and say, this is what we realize in our revenue. And how is this money being spent? Nobody wants to tell you that. That is to tell you the kind of scam, a fraudulent act going on in the system. I am so convinced that the rich, they are not paying, because I was with one of these bodies that regulate taxes one time, and I was discussing with one of them, and he said they went to a place. I don't want to mention him because I'm live now. And they went to a place, and they meet with this person, and they said, please, your tax is due and you are not paying. He said within the next 5 minutes, they got a call from the government, and I said, leave that place, so not be everywhere that they go. So you can understand the pain people are going through. Now, if you now put the same zeal you are putting in every day to tax the bike rider, the Okada rider, the Yaris driver, and you put that same force into the big organization, what are you telling me? We'll be able to generate more.
What's Dr. Azemhe's agenda for infrastructural development, education, and public health?
Thank you very much. First of all, when you talk about infrastructure, what is infrastructure? It's simply the basic amenities to make a state or an institute work better, such as roads, schools, and all those things. That what we call is the infrastructure. And Azemhe keeps saying over and over again, he said road is not one of his criteria. That is, it's a primary call that every government should provide for its people. So when he come on board, there is no road that he will be left behind as long as Edo State is concerned. Not this one that will tell you that it's a federal road, you are not expected. And do you know that most of those federal roads that are abandoned is where our food is coming in? This is one of the reasons where there is an increment in the farm produce. Look at the Auchi road that is not working. And you know that everything we consume in Edo State, majorly about 80 to 90% of them come from the north. And when you not abandon the road that leads to those north, and the drivers are struggling, sometimes they stayed 1 week. Imagine a driver carrying a tomatoes, which is a perishable goods. And you know how many that will be damaged before they will get to Benin? Do you think those farmers, or those people who went to the farm to buy those produce, do you think they will not put in a cost on it to cover up what they have lost? And would not pay those damages? It's we, the Edolites, we are suffering from it. And that is what Azemhe is coming in. He said one thing. If you look at him very well, he said whether it is a federal road, is a state road, is a local government road, Azemhe is not concerned. That as long as it's a road where the Edolite is passing, that is going to fix those roads.
Quickly talk to us about the fact that the NNPP as a party is not so popular in Edo State. You can dispute that.
All right, thank you very much.
Some say that's a disadvantage to your candidate, your principal in this election compared to the others who have been there over the years as far as this election is concerned. What are the chances of the NNPP in this election, considering that it is not so popular by the assessment and estimation of some other people?
Thank you very much. If you look back in 2023, we always track histories. You check that when Labour came on board, they were never popular as this. One man did it, which is Peter Obi. When NNPP came, they were not popular, but the coming of Azemhe Azena into the party has given the party a boost. As we speak to you now, we are one of those, the top 3 parties who have already submitted the polling unit agents to the INEC, and you can verify that is in the INEC portal. So when you are hearing some of those things, they are purely propaganda, political propaganda, going around with some of those criminals who are in office. I want to tell you something, that the word Azemhe is not a name, it's a force. It's a party on your own that people want to reckon with. I go out every day for this movement. I have seen people who tells me that they are not voting party, but they want to vote this man because of his past history. I keep telling people, I keep saying it over and over again, that there is no way you can tell me you love Edo. Firstly, what is love? Love is sacrifice. The Bible said that for God so loved the world and he gave. So meaning that if you want to tell me that you love me, first you must be able to convince me by giving. Now these people who are now shouting that I love Edo, how many have they given to Edo? And that is where Azemhe is on 1,000,000% ahead of all of them. Go to the streets. Okay, let me not go to the street. Go to the prison. I can go with you if you invite me. Go to Oko prison. Go and ask. Just go there, knock, and say, you want to pay a visit to the Oko prison. And my listener, just go and verify.
But they don't vote. They can't vote.
They don't vote, but they know him. That is what I'm trying to say.
So if you have them in the prison, they are incarcerated, they can't vote.
No, what I'm trying to tell you.
What currency, what political currency is that to the agenda?
Now, what I'm trying to tell you is that the name Azemhe is very popular more than the party himself. That if people now got to know more that Azemhe, the only thing they ask for more is which party will now say NNPP. They say, okay, fine, that is where we are voting. So what I said you should go to the prison is to tell you how popular the name is in the streets. There are places, I don't see it anywhere in Edo that you go to and ask about Azemhe. Somebody will say, I don't know.
But his name will not be on the ballot. It's the party's logo that will be on the ballot. Isn't that a challenge?
Now, when we go
how are you expecting people to merge both?
You know, we have a structure to do all of those things. We have the body, which is, we call the voters education. They are doing that, orienting people about our logo, about NNPP and all that. So they move from ward down to the unit. We have the structure from the unit down to the level. We are doing all of those things. But what I'm trying to tell you is that when you just mention Azemhe NNPP is always is a blast everywhere.
Talk to us about this feeling. Is a feeling, maybe a perception in some quarters that Dr. Azemhe Azena and the NNPP, they are playing what you could call the placeholders role for the bigger political parties in Edo State and in this election. And that as we progress towards September 21st, there's going to be an announcement from the campaign council pitching tent with any of the big three or any other political party. How true is that?
I will tell you something. Most time, our feelings to some certain body language you hear outside is not always true. The reason is that Azemhe did not come to joke. If he wants to do that, he would have stayed in a bigger party where we will now fight for appointment. He's still in this game till end. I'm telling you. I am secretary to the campaign council. As a matter of fact, 95% of the fight come to my office. And I see all of those things. If there is not to come, I would have just tell you that we are expecting such. But there is no. In this game, no. You say that because most time you are always in the studio because of your job. You don't go out. We go to the creek. We go to the streets on daily basis. We know the force we are pulling. And that I believe there is no candidate that can be compared or that you can see or to reckon with that there's Azemhe or this person. No, you can't. You can't. Let's not even go that. As I am, I feel so bad that I know how many years it took me to put my eye to the grindstone to study my books, that I will not stand to say I want to support one idiot, a bastard who has never been to school.
We don't use such language here.
Oh, sorry to use that.
Sorry.
So, you know, I seen Azemhe. I know some of his stories on how he started his education and all that. I am somebody who believes that education is not a scam. And I want to give it to those who have been able to go through the grinding process to come to the apex in the areas of education. That the key to this success is through education. To be a good leader, you must be able to account to society studies that you have gone through all over the years. I tell people, I say, give Azemhe a chance. As we speak now, Azemhe has 65% of his cabinet ready. I am an admin in one of his platforms where you have all the diaspora, including the expatriates, who is bringing in terms of industry. You know, there are so many practices we don't practice as long as Nigeria is concerned. You know, there's what they call a kind of a mechanism that you bring in a company, but that is called a commensurate program, that you bring in a company, the company you are bringing in, there's no pay tax directly to the state. But in aspect of paying tax, that few tax is supposed to pay, he uses it to train the youth into the system.
Okay.
So the company will not be paying tax, but they are training your youth. So one day through, the government set up a program for them. They keep on with that. So there are so many places where such thing is going on. I was opportune to speak with one of his diaspora person, an expatriate, a few days ago. We're talking about these plastic shoes manufacturing and all that. So the machines will come. He's already in connection with different nations. He has a contact with Belgium. There's a company I don't want to mention in Belgium. We have one in Germany. All coming in rubber manufacturing and other things, in terms of agricultural productions and every other things. So Azemhe is already set for this election. So somebody who has gone far will not leave the race for someone else.
So what's the unemployment level in Edo State in
Thank you.
terms of statistics and number? And how is your principal intending to deal with that as a challenge beyond what you just explained a few minutes ago?
In terms of unemployment, we have strategies to cure that. I will not go to the numbers because I may not be specific. This is a national television. I may not be specific giving the rightful percentage. But I know that the unemployment rate, as long as the Edo State youth is concerned, is on a large scale. But I believe with the program His Excellency is having, in first of all, to pulling out, the pull off of the poor out of the streets. He has a program for the youth on ICT. He also has a program for the farmers to produce more farm products and all that. He also has a program coming up that I was just telling you that you train the youth into something and all that. So in all of these things, if you put them together, you see the number of the poor that is going to pull out, the number of unemployed that is going to pull out. And another thing that is planning of doing, the first thing Azemhe will do when he emerges as a governor is to he will cut down the cost of running governance. You know, how can a budget...
That's cost of governance.
Yes, a cost of governance.
Okay.
That is going to cut it down because all this money blocks some loopholes where money runs and all that. If he can do all of those things, the surplus that is going to remain will be used to set up a body for the youth. Set up an industry where they can always work. You know, just imagine as Edo State is. That is one thing that got me angry, and I keep telling people, why is it that the past administration and this present administration, nobody is campaigning about the Edo farm? Have you been there in the past years to see it? Nobody campaigned about it. Do you know why? Because the past administration cannot campaign about it because they fail. The present one cannot campaign about it because they also fail. Why is it that what will benefit the poor, the government of the past and the present, they are not interested in it? Now, the hospital that you brought in, that you build, is the poor going there?
Okay,
where a card is 10,000.
You talk about the farm issue. I was going to ask you that because one of the major things that triggered the hashtag End Bad Governance and End Hunger protest was hunger.
Yeah.
So what is the model being deployed by your principal, Dr. Azemhe Azena, to tackle the problem of hunger in Edo State? If you have identified that the past government and perhaps the present government have not done anything in that direction.
Thank you. When you talk about hunger, what actually the cause of hunger? Is the lack of the reduce in the agricultural produce. People don't go to farm anymore. One of the reasons, first of all, to be able to say you want to counter hunger, the first thing you should fight is security. Make sure that those hoodlums who are in the forest are being pulled out, so that our people can go back to the bush to farm. If you do that, there is no way people will not love to go to farm. I am from Esan, in Esan Southeast to be precise. I'm from Ewohimi. If, for example, that there is a place that one of those hoodlums they normally stay, people don't go to farm. Look at area here in Ovia Southwest. People don't go to farm anymore. And where our plantain is coming from. People don't go to farm because they are scared. They have their hoodlums in the forest. The first thing Azemhe is going to do in the area of security. That is why sometimes I tell him, I said, we should do as much as possible to produce more of our manifesto. You give a 0% loan to farmer to go back to the farm. You supply them some of the materials they needed. And you also put in place how those things can be monitored properly. That's the problem we have also. You give out things, you don't monitor them, you don't follow them. How can a commissioner of agriculture who does not even have a farm, he has never been to the farm before, you know, all of those appointments and all that? No, it's bad. Somebody, a field that you don't know, you should not be appointed for it. It will take you time to, first of all, understand the system of the place. Now, when you talk about how Azemhe is going to do that, as I earlier said, first of all, you put the security in place so that people can go back to the farm. You give them a soft loan of 0% for them to be able to have that zeal to work again. Then you also set up a place, and when they are bringing this product on how it can be sold, that is why you can't take away the good road. Because if there is no good road, there's still going to be high cost in all of these products. So we're going to make sure that there is good road first. We put in place security. People can go to farm.
Okay. You mentioned a while ago, I mean, that you can't excel in an area you don't have experience for. What do you say about the talks that your principal doesn't have experience in governance because he's never been elected as a councillor, local government chairman, or maybe a member of the legislative arm at the local government level, House of Assembly, House of Representatives, and the Senate. Now, all of a sudden, he wants to be the governor of Edo State. So where is the experience that he has garnered to be able to function at that level? Going by your own word, that you can't function properly or excel in an area you don't have experience for.
Thank you very much. The aspect of governance, actually, is it not people is going to govern? It's the people. Somebody who has been able successfully in the past 10 years, have about 120 branches under him, coordinating both states and international, including Italy, Belgium is there, Turkey is there, coordinating those areas put together. Now, with that experience, do you think it can apply in those areas? Now, first of all, look at it. The first experience, look at the issue in Benue. The man there, was it a former commissioner? No. Was it one time a councillor? No. Was it one time a Federal House of Representatives? No. But he's doing successfully.
You're talking about Benue, not Edo State. Two different states.
Two different states.
Yes.
But same people. Same people. You can see it's governing.
Same people. They don't belong to the same denomination.
Yeah, they don't belong to the same.
Yes.
The same. What is actually in Benue is farming. That's why today they call them basket food of the nation. Now, Edo State, one of the agricultural products we know from is the palm oil. So it's still quite related as well be the basis of farm, which is very easy to manage. I don't see any problem with that. Somebody who has never been there before wants to be there. Even many of them who are contesting, and have they been there before? Are they contested or won an election? No. It's just all about, I tell people every day that I said, it's just all about the experience. What have you been able to put together in the past years? Now, if you look at the story of Azemhe, you see how he started to where he is. Now, somebody of that capacity can also manage a state. Somebody who has put the people first can also manage the state. Somebody who have always seek to their need, answering the calls even in the night, running after them to make sure they are all right, can also handle the state.
Okay. In the latest data released by INEC in the build-up to the state governorship election, you have over 1.4 million voters in Edo State, registered voters in Edo State. Of that percentage, a larger percentage of it constitutes the youths, or are made up of the youths. What is the capacity of your party and your principal, talking about the candidate, to be able to convince this large percentage of the youths to vote for Dr. Azemhe Azena, the NNPP candidate in this election?
Thank you. That is already what we are doing. How old am I? I'm just 34. Am I not a youth? And I'm here. So the same way I am here, the same way we have them. As I speak to you now, 95% of our council are all youth. We are not less than 40.
So that means your council and your principal is not counting on experience, which is needed in functioning at the level of the governorship status in Edo State.
Thank you. When you talk about experience, how did experience normally comes? It's a training, it's in a process, right? Now, Azemhe also has been in that process, in that training. So he's more experienced than those who are outside clamoring for these things. So the reason why I brought this idea of the youth is that we are these people who believe that we have suffered a lot. We are part of those people who believe that we have stayed too long in this suffering. We have stayed too long to just be kept in one spot. We have stayed too long to be neglected. And that is why Azemhe came in. As a youth himself, He put upon himself. You have seen him during the protest. He was out there. It was only one of the top governor candidates who was outside.
So are you saying he's one of those who sponsored the
No,
protest?
no, he went out on his own to also tell you how he feels about the pain of the people. If you see the black card he was holding, he said hunger. That's to tell you he feel what we are feeling. And as I tell you, he also stays where the poor lives. That is where he lives. So he's far closer to the youth. It's the same way he's closer to the youth. The same way he's also closer to the old. So if you look at Azemhe Azena as a person, look at what he's doing over the years. Just look at it. He has a body that takes care of the youth responsibility. The same way he also has the Williams Foundation, who takes care of the elderly. The widows are there. They have been receiving salary over the past 9 years. The elderly ones who are above 60, 70, he paid them on monthly. Not 100, not 200, not 300. If I can, it's something that if you want to publish on air, I give you all of these things to publish. History can tell you that in this election, there is none that is experienced as Azemhe.
Okay, talk to us quickly. Talk to Edo people why they should vote for Dr. Azemhe Azena come 21st September 2024 Edo State Governorship election.
Thank you very much, my Edo people. I want to let you know that the best chance we have now is to vote Dr. Azemhe Azena. If we miss it now, it will take us many years to recover from it, because we will have the chances now to take it. Azemhe is going to run a government for the poor, owned by the poor, in the sense that everyone has a stake in the government. That is what democracy simply means. It's not a cause where people now hijack power, hijack the state treasury.
Okay. All right. Kingsley Ahibi is the secretary to Dr. Azemhe Azena Campaign Council of the Edo State chapter of the NNPP, one of the major contenders for the Edo State governorship election 2024, bid for September 21st. Kingsley, thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
It's a delight to
Nice
have
to
you
meet
here.
you. Thank you very much, sir.
And just so that you know that if you have a candidate that can stand the heat here, bring him on board, or a party chieftain, a member of the campaign council, to talk about your candidate and your party, you can bring him here. Just a token. Go to our commercial department, make inquiries. Remember, on the 12th and 13th of September, we'll have the ITV and radio 2024 political debate for deputy governor candidate on the 12th and the governorship candidate on the 13th. Thank you so much for watching. Happy viewing.